Welcome, everyone, to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my co-host, Ron, will be here in just a minute. He's handing off the grandson to his dad, so we don't have to deal with that anymore today. So, hey, Tom, I hope you're doing good. So tonight, I'm bringing you a very special guest. I know a lot of you know him already. In fact, he knows a lot of the same people I know for some reason. Don't know why that is. So apparently we keep the same bad company. So I'd like to welcome Ronnie Dee to the show.
Hey, Denise, how are you?
Oh, fine. Yeah, I was talking to someone on my team. Again, you know her, Tina, over in Cedar Key, Florida.
Florida?
Yeah, you know her. So I forgot her last name.
I do. Where is she? Is she on here? Tina Fleury.
Tina Fleury is not on here right now, but I guarantee she'll be checking in because I did share it with the group because she's part of Panhandle Paranormal of Pensacola, and me and another lady are now the leads for it. So she's got to talk to me sometime.
Awesome. So, maybe. Tina's a busy woman. Every time I try to get a hold of her, she's busy.
Yeah, you would think that for somebody who's retired, it wouldn't be that hard to get a hold of them.
Yeah, right? I think she's living her best life now.
Oh, she is. And this year, knock on wood, we've had a pretty quiet year storm-wise. Everybody else has had it pretty bad, but we've been pretty good. From the Forgotten Coast to the Emerald Coast, we've all been good. So... yeah, she's just down the road from us at this point. So, but hey, Mom, I hope you're doing good. And hey, Crystal. So when I had you on the last time, you had recently purchased Harriman Hospital. And
oh my God, has it been that long?
Yeah. So.
Wow, because we've owned Harriman now. I think this is our 4th year.
Wow. So
it's been that long since we've been on the show?
Well, the last time you were on the show, you said that you were moving from Chicago to Tennessee.
Yeah, just moved down here. I've been down here. This will be, I think, my 17th or 18th week. So yeah, I just moved to Hickson, Tennessee. It's a little town outside of Chattanooga. Really cute little town. Yeah, I have an apartment on one of the roads down here. But yeah, I really love it. As a matter of fact, I'm actually in North Carolina right now. So hi, all my North Carolina people. This is like my 3rd time to North Carolina because remember, I'm a northern boy, but really liking the mountains and it's just really beautiful down here. I mean, it's just really beautiful down here. All these years that I've lived up north, I really miss part of my life. I should have been down here sooner.
Well, didn't you go to college at Vanderbilt?
No, my daughter went to college there.
Oh, so you were already
I'm
really
familiar
with the area because of that. Got it. So
well, I owned South Pittsburg Hospital I've owned South Pittsburg for 9 years now. So yeah, I've been acquainted with Tennessee, but I was only here 1 week and then I'd fly back to Chicago. And then, so for the last 8 years of my life, I've been living out of a suitcase, from here to there to here to there, that kind of a thing. So yeah, now I don't live out of a suitcase. Well, I'm back in a suitcase because the company I work for is sending me all over down here, which I'm really enjoying because, as I said, I get to see different states and other stuff, but they're sending me to different locations to help out some things with the company that I work for. But yeah, like I said, really enjoying living down in the South. And I will tell you guys, when they say Southern hospitality, it really is a thing. I mean, the people down here in the South are just, bar none, some of my favorite people.
So have you had your fill yet of banana pudding?
No, I really like banana pudding, actually. Oh, there I am. I don't know if you heard me or not. I actually do really like banana pudding. Don't have any issues with it.
I like.
Well, the funniest thing that I had to get used to is what a meat and 3 was. I had no idea what a meat and 3 was. So it's a meat and 3 sides. A meat and 3 sides. It's like the restaurants that they called. So it's a meat and 3, and I had no idea what it was. So got acquainted with that really quickly, and okra and all that southern stuff. But yeah, as I said, I really enjoy being down here. Really enjoy the people, and I think the thing that I really enjoy the most is that I really enjoy being closer to my hospitals now. Now I go there, every couple of days or whatever, and so just being there once a week, now I can spend a lot more time in them, and man, are they haunted. Holy cow. I thought before just being there a little bit as I was before, seeing the activity, but now being there all the time, it really, wow. Yeah, it's really kind of neat, kind of a different perspective when you get to spend, before I was spending a lot of time in there, but it was a kind of a different scenario. Now I get to spend a lot of time there, and really different perspective, kind of neat.
I can see that.
Probably used to you now. That's what it is.
I think there's been comfort all along, because it was kind of neat because, I would go there a lot. Sometimes I drive from Chicago down, and then I got into the flying because it's actually cheaper. But it was really kind of neat. I get there at all wee hours, sometimes at night, sometimes in the morning. Excuse me, but it was really kind of neat because sometimes I'd walk in the door and I'd hear, "Hi, Ronnie," and I was the only one in the building. Or I'd be leaving, the next day, and I hear "Good morning" or "Good morning, Ronnie," or whatever. It's really kind of neat. And like I said, I was the only one in the building. It was kind of frightening at first, and then as time went by, it's just kind of like, okay. Now it just doesn't faze you anymore. It's kind of unique. But as I said, it's different perspective when you get to spend a lot more time there, on different weeks than just once in a while now. So a lot of fun. Denise is in serious thought there.
Denise is writing a message to Panhandle Paranormal, letting them know that you're on here.
Hi, Denise. Write a message, Denise.
That's what I'm doing. The bad part is
you got to get Tina Fleury over here.
Like I said, I've only met her once. So, and that was at a meeting.
Oh, you only met Tina once?
Yep.
You only seen her the one time.
Yeah. That was the only time we saw her was when we had a meetup in Pensacola, the April after we moved here. So that would have been what? The
new members in the group
we've
kind of seen quite a bit now lately.
Yeah, we're seeing everybody.
They're go-getters.
So
we found out all the old team members are lazy.
I really like Tina. Tina comes down to the hospitals, I think, maybe 3 or 4 times a year. But yeah, she's really sweet. Good, really good investigator too. She's a really good investigator.
Yeah, you're still on our list to come and see.
Yeah, we need to go
with Kat. So we're going to come with Kat Hobson when we come. So.
Oh, she's another sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah, we've only investigated a little together.
Yeah, Kat's another real good one. I really enjoy her. She's a real sweetheart. Pardon?
Yeah, our last thing together was at the beach. We were investigating. we were investigating seashells and seafood. So.
Well, didn't she just buy a new house like on Gulfport, or she just bought a new house on the right not too long ago?
No, her friend bought a new house.
One.
Her friend Lori Dorsey bought a house in Gulf Shores, and so we were there the weekend that she took possession of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like 90 minutes away.
Okay.
So we went over there and hung out for a while, and the only thing we've done with Kat paranormal wise that you're gonna laugh is we went for a walk through Sloss Furnace during the day 10 years ago. We haven't done anything else paranormal.
Yeah, because I think that's
Paracon.
I think that's closed down now. Isn't Sloss Furnace closed down? I don't think you can go there. I think you can only do like weddings or something like that, I heard.
Yeah, you can still walk around it and do weddings and events and stuff like that, but you can't do paranormal there at all. So,
yeah,
but
I've never been there.
I
heard it's been pretty active. I heard it's a really neat location. Yeah,
oh, it is. It's really interesting. But see, he used to work in a steel plant.
Yeah.
So when he was walking through that, he knew what all the stuff was.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
for
wow.
him, it
Yeah,
was
I
like,
recognize everything.
yeah. So, and the thing is that technology hasn't changed really that much over the years.
Oh, why fix something that's not broken, right?
Yeah, make it real hot and pour it.
and avoid it.
Yeah.
So over this
Were there a lot of
haunted
deaths?
seat,
It's lost. I don't think there was.
the thing is when they
No.
talk about it, a lot of what they talk about, like this guy Slag that they had affiliated with that location, was in Bessemer, not there.
Right.
So there's a lot of
Oh.
mixed up history with the place. So without doing a deep dive, I don't know. I think the homeless people that live in the area is much scarier, honestly, because they're right there
They
on the
usually are,
ground.
unfortunately.
And we were told, not to be out there at night because it's dangerous, and to be careful where you went, and not to get away from the main paths because of stuff. So, but other than that, like I said, it's been 10 years and they closed down paranormal investigating probably 6 or 7 years ago, if not longer.
Yeah, I think it's been quite a while. Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, Kat's still pretty irritated about it. She's like,
yeah, I don't think there was that many deaths there.
Yeah, it's a big place though.
No.
It's just really interesting to walk around and look. I mean, it's really pretty, the grounds, which is, you think steel plant, you don't think nice grounds. So,
right.
And so a lot of people may have heard this and a lot of people may not have. How did you decide you were going to buy Old South Pittsburg?
Well, honestly, when I went to Old South Pittsburg, the first time, because I was a paranormal investigator, obviously, before owning the building. And I was always kind of enamored with owning a haunted location prior to it. But when I had that full body apparition, that event that actually happened, it kind of changed the course of my paranormal beliefs, if you will. I offered to purchase the building pretty much right then and there because it was pretty much an amazing experience. But yeah, I don't know, just kind of fell into it and got really lucky and really enjoy it. I mean, I really, really enjoy sharing the building with, other investigators and, local and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I did an investigation there. I saw a full body apparition on the third floor. It was a nurse. Kind of really fell in love with the building, kind of really grabbed me from the first time I went there. And then got lucky one night. I was actually there. We were doing an investigation and a lady from the IRS was there, and she said that the building was being basically taken because the doctor didn't pay his property taxes and his payroll taxes, and the list went on and on. He was $4 or $5 million in debt to the IRS, and so they were basically getting rid of all of his assets, and OSPH was one of the assets. So her and I made fast friends. She told me when the auction was. The first auction I didn't make it because the IRS was asking like way too much money for it. It was just ludicrous. So I told her, I said, this is the amount of money I have to spend on it. This is what I'm looking to do, blah, blah, blah. She says, well, if nobody shows up at the auction, then we take offers. And so nobody showed up at the auction. She called me, I think like maybe a week or two after that, and told me nobody showed up at the auction. And she said that they accepted my offer. But then somebody at the last minute, right before we were signing papers, I guess contacted the IRS and said they were interested in the building too. And because it was a federally ran auction, they had to rerun the auction. So then what happened is that the other person that was interested in the building got the opportunity to bid on it. And luckily I just had a little bit more money than they did. And we ended up just purchasing it from the IRS. And I know everybody kind of laughs, but I don't think they understand how much work we do in these buildings. So my first year that we owned the building, we spent $86,000 just in garbage removal. We moved out, it was 122 tons or something like that of garbage. And between, having the trucks coming back and forth and down, offloading the what do you call it? I forgot the roll-off carriers and all that stuff. It took us probably a good solid, dumpsters. That's it. Took us a good solid 2.5 months to get just the garbage out of the building. And you guys know, I know that so many have investigated there, but all the rooms were full of just everything. Like the doctor was a hoarder. So, I mean, I think one of the rooms had almost 1,000 rolls of wallpaper in it. So that was just one room. I know one of the other rooms, I think, had 28 or 29 different garbage disposals that go under the sink. He had a room full of Christmas tree stands. It was like all stuff that was just, wow. So what he did apparently is what I found out after the fact is, remember Sears Roebuck? Remember those old outlet stores?
Yep.
So he would go and he'd buy all the clearance stuff, and then he'd think that he'd turn around and sell them and make a profit. Well, apparently he ended up buying all this stuff, didn't sell it, and it just sat in the hospital. And we ended up not only inheriting the hospital, but inheriting just tons and tons and tons of just garbage, literally garbage. And then, we had to get the car out of there for safety's sake. And, it was a lot of work. It was a real uphill climb the first, year that we had the building. And we spent countless hours in there. There were 50 or 60 of us in there, 10 hours a day for days on end, just cleaning and getting it fixed and getting it presentable. Because obviously we wanted, the building to look good for people. I mean, a lot of people don't mind going into decrepit buildings and investigating. But in my opinion, if you want a true paranormal experience, you have to have windows. You have to have things that keep the outside out and the inside in, because all that stuff contaminates your evidence. And, if your windows are open and there's a coyote out front howling, when you're doing an EVP, you're getting a coyote howling and somebody's like, oh, did you hear this? Did you hear that? And, without a window there, you don't really know what you're capturing. And, and one of the things I think is really cool is there's a lot of really good owners out there who feel the same way I do. And, Robin Terry over at Ashmore Estates did the same thing. When I was investigating that hospital a long, long time ago, there was windows open and he came in, put windows in. And I just think it's just better from an investigation point of view is that, when we're trying to debunk things and you got a wide window and you're doing EVPs, the contamination is just really bad. So, we wanted to make sure that the building was, in great shape so that when you come in and you got that experience that, we couldn't blame it on a broken window or we couldn't blame it on this or blame it on that. You're truly having an experience. So.
Well, I was told that before you bought it, not only was there a lot of junk, there was a lot of fungus and mold growing in the building.
Oh, it was disgusting. It was awful.
Yeah,
I mean,
somebody
guys,
told me
I'm honest with you.
Yeah, somebody told me, don't you go there. I had been sick. I had a collapsed lung, long story. But they said, don't you go there because you've had lung issues. Don't go there. And they said there was fungus hanging off the walls about 3 feet thick and hanging from the ceiling and that it was not safe. And I was like, well, thank you so much for telling me because it was on our list of places to go. But that, like I said, that was before you purchased it. So I don't know who was allowing them to investigate, unless maybe it was the doctor just trying to get some cash. I don't know, but they had warned me about it. And so when we found out you purchased it, we were more than excited to say it's back on our list. So,
right.
Well, we knew a lot of people
and I've been doing this for
there.
Yeah, and I've been doing this 27 years. I mean, I've been into my share of, and you guys probably will admit this too, we've been into our share of places that you're kind of like, I survived that location, and then you walk into places like Harriman, looks like we could open it tomorrow and literally, do healthcare. And South Pittsburg was kind of in the middle. I'm going to say it wasn't one of the worst locations I've ever investigated, but it certainly wasn't one of the best. And you're right, there was, we tore out so much. See, and most people don't realize this too, is that drywall is actually sugar based, and mold loves sugar. I mean, so gypsum board is it's got sugar in it. So when you add that with moisture, you're going to get mold. And so first thing we did is we went in and we ripped out all the drywall. We got it back down to the brick. Mold doesn't like brick. But to your point, when I was actually investigating there prior to owning it, you'd walk in the building and you couldn't take a deep breath. Like you literally, if you walked in the building and took a deep breath, you'd choke and probably cough up a lung. Now you can walk in the building and you take a deep breath. I mean, it's just the work that ourselves, the volunteers and myself did, if you saw it before versus now, it's amazing. The transformation that we've gone through over the course of many, many years is just phenomenal. And, it got to the point where it was actually kind of, we would have people like, they do an investigation and they're like, yeah, we don't like it anymore because it's not creepy. We don't like it anymore because it's not dangerous. And I'm like, well, then you need to go hunt somewhere else. I'm like, well, that's not what we want. We really want a place that's, like you said, that you can walk in, take a deep breath. And, what Tom just said, you don't want to walk into a location that's full of mold and mildew. And, it was awful. And it was like that. It was definitely like that. And so we did a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Down here, well, where you're at now, there's so much moisture in the air that without temperature control, you're going to have mold. I mean, it doesn't matter how old your place is, you're going to have mold. And I mean, we run 3 dehumidifiers almost all year long here, where in Kansas City, we had to run a humidifier from Thanksgiving to the 1st of March. In fact, I brought the dehumidifier.
Yeah, because you got the heat out.
Yeah. Well, we brought our dehumidifier here, and we've already transferred it to South Carolina to our kids because we don't need it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 60% humidity here or higher every day. But we have, but what's strange is that our bread doesn't mold. So apparently we've got our humidity just fine. Yeah. But there in Kansas City, it would. I don't know why. So it's just kind of strange. But so that's your story for Old South Pittsburg. What made you decide Harriman was your next project?
Well, Harriman was just actually, honestly, luck. It was kind of, and it's kind of funny because I can go backwards, and it's kind of weird because I kind of think that I've been hand selected for some of these locations because, especially Harriman. So about 15 years ago, 17 years ago now, maybe, we actually did an investigation across the street from the hospital in Harriman. It was called the Temperance Building. It was one of the old buildings. It's actually standing from when I believe like Harriman actually became Harriman. It was kind of unique. We did that. Well, we went to this location and got absolutely nothing. We were kind of bored to death, had nothing to do. So I decided I was going to walk across the street to the hospital. And I think it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning, just walked right through the front doors. No security. Remember back then we didn't really need it, but walked right in, kind of milled around. Nobody. Well, I think I walked through ER, walked upstairs, kind of walked around the whole building for quite some time. And then finally somebody said, "Oh, I don't think you belong here." And I said, "Yeah, you're right, I don't." So they asked me to leave. And then 15 years later or so, maybe 13 years later or so, one of my volunteers actually said, "Hey, there's a hospital in Harriman and they're tearing it down." And I said, "They are." I went to that hospital just as a joke, and I walked through. I said, "It's beautiful, it's big, and blah, blah, blah." And so we called the city hall and said, "Hey, what are you doing with it?" And they said, "Well, we're going to knock it down." And I said, "Well, why don't you give us a chance to do something with it instead of knocking it down?" Because it was going to cost taxpayers about $14 million to knock it down. Because remember, you got 168,000 square feet. And what most people don't realize is that when they take a hospital down or something like that, they've got to dig 28 inches into the soil, remove all that soil, and bring new soil in because they're concerned about contamination from the hospital. Right. They're concerned about, what's gone through the sewer system and all other stuff. So I said, just give us the chance to see what we can do with it. City Hall was kind of receptive. Kind of not, because remember, we're in the Bible Belt, and especially Harriman was kind of built on the Temperance Foundation, which was kind of holy and kind of spiritual and kind of. So what we were doing was kind of they thought we were going to sit around in circles and, I guess, sacrifice goats and, that kind of a thing, because that's kind of what ghost hunters do, don't we? Right. So it was kind of
Every
funny.
day.
Did you tell them what you were going to do?
Yeah, right.
Did you
Oh, we
tell
did.
them what
We
you're
had to. We
planning
had to
on
be
doing?
upfront with them, of course.
Oh, okay.
Oh, of course. Because the hospital is actually owned by the city at that point in time, so we were purchasing it from the city. So for us to go in there and say one thing and do something else, I think probably would have been frowned upon.
No, I didn't know
we
if you
pitched our
said, "Hey,
thing to City Hall.
we're just going to fix the place up."
So we pitched our thing to City Hall. City Hall they were okay with it. Then we found out that actually the industrial board actually owned the hospital. It wasn't the City Hall. So then we got in touch with the industrial board, and they sent a bunch of people over to South Pittsburg to find out what we were doing. They actually did a public investigation with us, thought we were really professional, thought we did things really well, realized that we were bringing a ton of money into South Pittsburg, and we got the green light from the industrial board after they called, every reference I gave them. I think they called everybody, even my babysitter from when I was 18. But they pretty much called, every reference we had, and we got flying colors. And the next thing you know is we made an offer to the city. The city accepted it, and 5 years later, almost 5 years later, we've been moving forward. Harriman it's just a beautiful building. And I will tell you, I am very partial to South Pittsburg because it was the first building I ever bought. Harriman is extremely active. I mean, it's probably one of the most active hospitals or locations I've ever been in out of any of them. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it was closed for 13 years and we had a bunch of anxious residents in there that wanted to, get their stories told or whatever. But it's just crazy. Everything there, from full-bodied apparitions to things. We even have doors open and close on their own. Things that I try to debunk that I just can't debunk. I mean, it's just an off-the-hook location. I think what's really, really neat about it is Waverly Hills is 186,000 square feet. We're only 20,000 square feet smaller than Waverly Hills. So we're 168,000 square feet, which is a big hospital. Most of the groups that we have don't even get to investigate the whole location because it's so active in one location, they never get to move on. So kind of a neat location, really pretty. What's neat about it too is you pull up, it's just like South Pittsburg. You pull up, there's this tiny little parking lot, and you see this tiny little building, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's it." And then you walk in and realize that the back of the building is actually where the hospital, the main part of the hospital is, and it's literally a city block. It goes from one block all the way down to the other block, and you can't see the other end of the hallway when you got your back up against the ORs looking down the hallway. It's that long. It's really, really kind of a neat building. But as I said, I don't think I'd put it up against the most haunted locations out there because I think it's just really that haunted or that active. It's not because I own it. It's because I've been to other locations too, and I can kind of judge the activity. And when Harriman, when she's doing her thing, she's pretty remarkable. We had an investigation one night, and this is how skeptical I am. We did an investigation one night where we had a laser grid going down one of the hallways, and it was in the geriatric wing. And I'm not lying to you guys, for 25, 30 minutes, we saw figures walking back and forth through the laser grid, to the point where I picked up the laser grid, unplugged it, shook it, made sure it wasn't broken, like it was just put it back together, set it back down, and it started doing it again. And I was like, oh my God. And it went on for probably a good 45 minutes to an hour. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just stopped. And I was like, oh, that was just kind of neat. But Harriman does that, just really, really random, just really cool stuff.
Yeah, I posted in our group that I had you on here, and Tina goes, "Ronnie's a good friend of mine." I said, "He said that." So
Tina's one of my favorites. I've known her for a long, long time. I actually think I bumped into her at OSPH before I owned it. We didn't even recognize each other until afterwards, so it was kind of neat. But I've known her. I've known her husband, who's unfortunately passed away. But I've known them for quite some time, and as I said, she's just a wonderful human being.
Yeah, I know last year or the first part of this year, she booked both OSP and Harriman one night after the next.
Oh yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So She invited
Yeah.
us, but
Yeah, and see, with
No.
OSPH, we're not allowed to have people spend the night. With Harriman, we can, so it's kind of neat. Harriman, you can actually take a nap or sleep if you want. Whereas OSPH, we're not allowed to because we don't have sprinkler systems in where Harriman does. So it's a little bit different of a situation. But yeah, she did. I believe she came to South Pittsburg first and then went to Harriman the second night. And she was plumb tuckered by the time she was done. But she said she got a bunch of good activity from both locations. So I said she's one of my favorites.
yeah,
But
I've been trying.
there's a lot of really great people in the paranormal, as I've been doing this.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I think we got a little delay.
I think we have a little delay between me and you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, do we? Is that what's going on? We have a delay. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It happens. So when you started investigating, you said 27 years ago. What made you get involved in the paranormal to start with then?
Oh, same thing everybody else did. TV shows. There was a TV
that
show
wasn't
I
mine.
think that I watched 27 years ago. Yeah, like a long time ago. And I got interested in it and kind of did it nilly-willy. And then I think right around, I think it was Ghost Lab, maybe that came out. One of those big shows that went, kind of mainstream. And I remember, it was kind of funny because I remember, and at that point in time, it was, kind of new. And I remember sitting watching the TV show and they're playing back an EVP. And I'm like, come on, stop it. I mean, really? Because from the outside looking in and you're like, oh, you hear this whisper on a voice recorder and you're kind of like, yeah, whatever. So I had to go out and prove that it was real, I guess. And so we did. We went out and next day went out and bought a ton of equipment, got cameras and voice recorders and K2 meters and all, and went out and we went to a couple of locations and I got my first EVP and I was like, oh, it's real, like this stuff. And then it just kind of snowballs because I think as a paranormal investigator, you get that first little bit of evidence and it's never enough. You know what I mean? You get the EVP and then you get this and then you get that and
it's crap.
And then you get your first full body apparition and you're like,
yeah, it's an adrenaline
and then the
rush.
addiction is real.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's crack.
It is.
Just have to use it once and you're addicted.
Well, I mean, if you're at a really active place, it's a lot of fun. I mean, hours go by real fast.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even realize.
Yeah.
But when it's really slow, man, it's a long night.
Oh,
we like
especially like one of my favorite locations. Yeah, one of my favorite locations was Hillview Manor out in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And the old owners and I became really good friends. So, we'd get bored. And there'd be like a Saturday where I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Let's give them a call, see if they're booked. And I mean, it would be like 5 below zero. And we'd be like, screw it, we're going. And we get in the car and drive, and you're right. I mean, on those slow nights, because they're, Hillview Manor is one of the most haunted locations I've been to too. But there's still nights where it's really slow. Well, now add that, when you're sitting in 15-degree weather inside the building, shaking, trying to get that evidence, and then there's no evidence going on, and you're kind of like, oh God, what am I doing? And I will remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was Peoria. There was one in Peoria, and it wasn't the old Bartonville, but it was the big, beautiful building that was out front. They were going to tear it down, and we wanted to be kind of like one of the last groups to ever investigate there. So, give them a call. Said, hey, we're coming. I want to say the temperature was like 13 or 14 below zero outside. And there was a snowstorm or blizzard going on. And we're like, screw it, we're going. We get there. And I mean, I don't even know how we, number one, made it to the location. But number two, once we got to the location, I remember sitting in the hallway with, the voice recorders going and everything, and 2 blankets sitting out there trying to stay warm. Yep. But the building was super active. And then we got up the next morning and we couldn't even leave the building because we got snowed in, had to get the shovels out. Yes. Greatest things in the world. Had to get the shovels out. And I think half of us, we went to the hotel room because we didn't even, it was too safe. It wasn't safe enough to drive home. But I mean, that's how like dedicated and involved in the paranormal we got, because it was like you said, it's really fun. It's really kind of a unique thing, and a lot of people call us crazy, but oh well, I guess we're crazy because it is a lot of fun.
We've done that at
Malvern
Manor before. They only had heat in one room, and the rest of it was not heated. And same with the air conditioner. They only had air conditioning in one area. So we were there when it was 110 outside in the attic going.
Well, one time it would start snow flurries on the way up.
That was in March.
And they said we had a chance of snow, and then it started snowing later that night, and then we hear ice, sleet hitting. And I'm like, oh, well, we might as well have fun because tomorrow we're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
In fact, Josh said, hey, just take your time, leave. You don't have to be out by a certain time. Just, whenever you feel it's safe to get out.
Yeah, that one was in November. Mm-hmm. And the window in our area was open, and we slept in tents inside so that we could have. Well, it's the only way you're going to stay warm in a place with no heat was to kind of at least keep your heat in with you. Mm-hmm. Oh, and this episode brought to you by Hot Hands. The Hot Hands in the bottom of the sleeping bag helped a lot, But we're going camping this weekend at McPike Mansion. It's our annual camp out there. And we've been there where we've woken up with ice on top of our tent. We've been camping at a graveyard with Carl and ice on our tent. And so we've been there, done that. It's not like not a big deal. So,
Canada.
And there you go. Crystal says she remembers being freezing at Malvern too.
Oh yeah.
And hello from Canada, aimlessly wandering soul. Welcome, Annie. So yeah, been there, done that. So
Thanksgiving Day.
Huh. Yes, it is. Happy Thanksgiving, Annie. So, but yeah, do you have any advice for people who go ghost hunting in places where it's 15 below zero with no heat in the building?
Just make sure. Well, we don't have heat in the building. We're in the same situation because the buildings are so big. There's just no way for us to heat or cool it. So we do the same thing. We do one room. But no, I just do what everybody else does. Use hot hands and put some jackets on. The nice thing about Tennessee is I want to say the inside of South Pittsburgh, we probably get down to about 45-ish, maybe 48 in the winter. Harriman, I think it's a little cooler. So it's really not that bad. Like I said, when we were in Peoria, I want to say the inside of the temperature inside the building was probably in the 20s. It was bad. It was so bad, like I said, there was no water. They shut the water off because it'd freeze. But we did have one room that he had heated, and it was so cold the heat couldn't even keep up in that room. So you just got to dress warm. Just really rolling. But one thing I will tell you guys as investigators, never wear nylon. Make sure you wear cotton, because when you're doing your investigation, the nylon makes that scraping noise. And if you're trying to record anything, you're not going to be very successful, where cotton is soft and it doesn't make that noise. We learned that on one of the investigations because we didn't realize that when we were recording, one of the girls had nylon shirt on, and every time she'd move, we'd be like, "Oh, did you hear that? That was kind of cool." And then obviously we debunked it to her shirt that she had on. She never wear nylon. And the second thing, never eat Taco Bell before an investigation. Those are my two biggest takes, guys.
Yeah, we eat Mexican before everyone. Everyone. That way, when the green monster comes out,
get the burrito demons. We try not to do that because your stomach growls and then everybody's doing recording like, oh, I told you this building had demons in it, when it's just really the burrito making its way from large intestine to small intestine. So, but we learned as a group never to do that.
Yeah, the big thing is making sure you eat, because the other growling sounds worse on an empty stomach.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and half the time when we're in places, there's nowhere to eat anyway, so you got to eat on the way.
Yeah,
so like at Malvern,
that was one of the things too. Is we always did hot dogs. I always had to stop at the gas station for a hot dog, because there's nothing better than a road hot dog at a gas station.
Well,
we would cook them.
yeah, I would
bring
bring
them up there.
I'd bring all my crock pots and I would fill them with hot dogs
Yep.
and
Chili.
chili and cheese and keeping up warm. So when anybody was hungry, they could go and eat all of the food. So
it's a great idea.
we were smart. Well, because the only thing that there was in the one town that we would go to in Malvern, Iowa was Casey's, and it closed at 11 o'clock at night.
Sure.
So needless to say, guess when everybody would get hungry? They would all be hungry about 11:30.
11 o'clock at night.
So,
right.
And
have you found, it's kind of funny, have you found that have you found that like Domino's and those pizza places, they don't like to deliver to haunted locations? Have you ever noticed that?
Nope. Yeah, oh,
okay.
yeah.
So now we have another story. So we
noticed that.
We used to be the tour guides at the Sally House in Atchison, Kansas. So one day we were doing a live feed with a friend. I don't know if you remember Rick Rose or not, but we were doing a live feed at his feed there. He had rented the house and somebody on the live feed called and ordered pizza for us.
Yeah, because he said something about, is there anyone else getting hungry? He goes, I'm hungry. And we're all like, yeah, we're hungry. And next thing you know,
ding dong. And there's this man at the door and he's bringing pizza. And he says to me, he goes, is this the Sally House? And I go, yeah. And he goes, I want to tell you something. I go, what? He goes, none of the kids would bring this stuff here. This guy was like 70 years old.
He's the only one.
He was the only one that would walk up to the door to bring the pizza. So the people who sent these 2 pizzas, they paid for the pizza and his tip for him to bring us pizza. And I was like, well, that was really nice. We thought it was the cops.
Well,
but the cops came earlier. The cops were there earlier.
Or some. Well, you'd always get a bunch of people that would come by. They found out that was the house, and then they'd ring the doorbells or just hang out. Because it's a haunted house, not knowing that people were in there investigating.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know how many times I had to explain to the cops what we were doing there and all kinds of other crap. But the pizza.
They kept an eye on that house.
Yeah, but it was funny when somebody did that. So. Guys, if you're ever doing live feeds and you're hungry, make sure you say, there is a pizza place in town. Maybe they'll deliver for you.
Yeah,
but that's been 10 years ago.
We get ours ours, they won't pull up into the parking lot. They even at South Pittsburg, they go to the street and then they'll call you and say, we're here. And you got to run down to the street to get it. They won't even pull into the parking lot. And you're like, come on, guys.
Wow.
Just the parking lot. Oh, I heard stories about this place. And you're like,
yeah.
But you should ask them. You tell them, say, hey, for your tip, you know what? We can send an attachment home with you. Here you go. Your very own ghost to go.
Right. Bring him back when you're done with him.
Yeah. Hell, he knows his way home. So, but well, at least we got the chat rooms laughing. But so how far? Okay, I know that you're from Alaska. You lived in Chicago. You're in Tennessee. You live now in Tennessee. You travel for a living. Mileage wise, what's the furthest you've gone to investigate? Just purely to investigate.
Well, it depends where from. I've been to California, I've been to Florida, I've been to obviously the Northeast corridor. We've been to New Orleans, so pretty much everywhere. When we got into it real heavy. We did coast to coast, and we do week-long road trips where we get in the car and just drive in locations. We go to Iowa. Chicago was really nice because the nice thing about it was pretty centrally located. And I could go to Iowa, so I could go see my friends out at Edinburgh Manor, or I can go west. I can go. So it was pretty nice. Now that I'm in Tennessee, things are a lot further from us. So, but I spend so much time in the hospitals that really don't have any time anymore to be investigating, and I really don't need to anyways, because I really enjoy investigating our locations on their own. And I think what's really, really neat is that when you're investigating like a location, like let's say, Malvern Manor, wherever you guys are going, you're only there for such a short period of time that you really don't get to have that, I guess, personal interaction with the residents there, because they're used to seeing so many different people coming and going. What's neat about owning the hospital is we have a very tight knit of volunteers at both locations, and we're in the building so often that we get like evidence that just people would, if I were to tell you some of the evidence we get, some of the things that happen to us, you'd be like, no, it doesn't. Come on, stop it. Because it's almost unrealistic. But as time goes by, we as volunteers, like Rhonda runs my location out in Harriman, and she daily will call me with this, that, whatever. And it's so neat because it just doesn't phase you anymore. It's kind of like almost expected. Like, like a good example is Rhonda will walk the building and she'll make sure all the doors are closed, and she'll get the building ready for investigators. She'll come back down the hallway the other way, and all the doors she just got done closing are all open. She's the only one in the building. And you're kind of like, wow, and that happens pretty much weekly, or there'll be like, there was a time we had a movie that actually was filmed there. I think it was 2 years ago now, where Hollywood came out and they did this really big movie. We got to hang out with movie stars and all this other stuff. And it was a really cool situation. But before that, they did us a punch list where they came through and we had to change some things for them so that they could film there. And one of the things they wanted us to do was put LEDs in the overhead lights. So I was actually there by myself one day. The rest of the team had gone out for lunch, and I was on a time frame because I had to get it done by a certain time. And, they'll tell you that never step on the top rung of a ladder because you're not supposed to. And of course, all of us guys do it anyways. So I was actually in one of the rooms, and I was on the top rung of the ladder, and I was stretching to put the LED in. And I literally felt somebody grab the back of my leg and tell me to be careful. And I turned around and I looked because I thought one of my volunteers had come back from lunch. I turned around and looked, there's nobody there. It's like just me, like literally. And it was a grab so hard that it felt human, like literally like, you grabbing the back of my leg. So I kind of came down off the ladder. I sat down in the waiting room because it kind of shook me up a little bit because I didn't really have anything ever grab me that hard. And I sat down, and then I felt like that energy go past me, and the chair next to me kind of squeak. And I hear this, glad you're okay. And I look over and I'm like, whoa, like this is just really bizarre. And so it's neat because the more and more I talk to like the volunteers and stuff, then we start sharing like these stories. It's happening to all of us. There's like literally like somebody in the building that's like just kind of looking out for us. And it's kind of neat. And like I said, if some of the stories that Rhonda and I and Brooke and a lot of the people share, if we were to share it to like the outside world, they'd be like, oh my God, those are some good drugs we're getting in Tennessee. But it's really not. I mean, just really cool stuff.
We know about the familiarity factor.
Oh yeah, that is real.
Yeah. From when we were doing the Sally House, we were probably the most commonly seen people there. And it got to the point to where the house would tell me what was going on when we weren't there. Somebody from the house would come and tell me something, or I could call the chamber and say, this person is doing this there now. And
they shouldn't be doing
stuff they shouldn't be doing and stuff like that. And they would go and they'd find out that it's true, and it was weird. That was when all the spirits would started talking to me and telling me what was going to happen when we went someplace. So now I know if I don't get any visits, the place may be haunted, but it may not be active at that point, that they're tired or whatever. But like this week already, I've been getting visits from McPike because we're going. And now if I didn't get any visits, I'd be telling him, I said, something's going to happen. We're not going to go. I know if we're going to go or not based on the visits that I get. Kind of weird, honestly.
That's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Well,
but I will tell you, I mean, it is really cool because like a good really. What's really cool too is with South Pittsburg, I think the buildings actually, like the spirits actually, or the residents, we have to call them residents, like they actually like kind of protect the building and protect all of us in it. One of the coolest things I think we ever had happen is we do have security cameras throughout, inside and outside of the buildings, and it's primarily for people breaking in. And so we did. I got a what do you call it? A notification that I was a little late on that somebody had broken into South Pittsburg. And by the time I got the police and everybody involved, somebody set the alarm off inside the building, so they had climbed out a window. Well, so we went back to call the police and everything. We went back and we reviewed the video. So the girl that actually broke in with her boyfriend had a backpack on. And on her backpack, on her right-hand side, she had a stack of about maybe that thick of cards. And we're assuming that they were probably like, whatever college, whatever related cards. And so what was really unique is that when the girl was walking through the building, there was a room that Brooke and I had cleaned up. Brooke and I had cleaned up the day prior to the people breaking in. So we knew the floors were absolutely spotless and all that other stuff. Well, the police had walked in the door, and when they walked into that room, on the floor was the girl's driver's license and school ID. That's it. Out of all the stuff that was on her band, that was on her backpack, it was her school ID and her driver's license.
Wow.
So when we saw them, it actually looked like they were ripped off of her backpack. Like you could see like the rip mark in the whatever she had them in those little like plastic holders. They had the little like thing on the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep. Yeah.
Where you put them on.
The little tether.
Well, that plastic was actually ripped. And
Wow.
so the policeman calls me because I was in Chicago, and he says, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" He says, "Well, we reviewed, the camera footage that you sent us and all that stuff." And she says, the police officer told me the only two things that we found on the ground in the building were her, and I'm not going to say it, but her college ID and her driver's license. And I said, "Oh, so we got him, huh?" And she says, the police officer says, "Oh, absolutely." So they went to the school, they called the dean because it was felony entering. They broke a window to get in. And sure enough, the IDs fit them. So going backwards, we're talking to, people. I'm like, so you have this big, pile of paperwork that's basically hanging off your body. And the only thing that comes off or gets ripped off is the two identification pieces that we need in order to have those people arrested. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, so it's kind of like, you've got it. In my world, the only thing I can say is that one of our residents was protecting the building and ripped them off of her, while she was trying to exit the window, and threw them on the floor, and there they are. And yeah, so they both ended up getting, we obviously pressed charges and all that other stuff. So kind of neat, kind of just a really neat situation.
That's a neat story,
again. Like similar to what McPike, you had credit cards pulled.
Oh, I had a clamshell wallet, and he made a big deal. We were at a restaurant, and he goes, "Oh, you're just always throwing your stuff in your purse, and you're never putting it away, and you can never find it." And so I made a big deal, and I put him in my wallet, and I closed it, and I stuck it in my purse.
In one of the slots.
And he saw what I did, okay? So afterwards, after we were done, this was the very first time we went.
Because we got there and you couldn't find it. It's like, oh, it's in here somewhere.
That was when we had
your wallet.
We had dinner before we went. So we go to this. We go get done. We go to McDonald's. I'm thirsty afterwards, and I'm standing there in line, and he saw where I put it.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't been messing in there. I can't find it. All my cards are out of my wallet.
Yep, everything's just
in the
bottom.
In the bottom of my purse. And some of the candy that was in there was gone.
Yep.
Okay. So apparently the kids at McPike knew I had candy in there, and they went after it, and they were looking for it. But the thing is my wallet was still closed, because it was, it was one of those ones where you have to push the button to open it. So I was like, how do I explain this?
Yeah, and Sandy said that, there were some kids,
Playing
hanging around you. They're hanging around your bag.
But
she goes, "You don't mind, do you?" And you're like, "No."
I didn't mind until I got to McDonald's and couldn't pay for anything because I couldn't find anything.
So you must have something in your bag or something. You said, "Well, yeah, I got some candy in there."
I said I had green tea gum. Nothing great. But apparently the kids didn't care. It was gum, but it was one of those things that was annoying as hell when I got to McDonald's to pay for my stuff. I'm like, and he's waiting for me. And he's going, what took so long? I said, I had to find my card. And the look on his face was like, really? What in the hell did you do? I was like, didn't do anything. And my daughter Leah's going, she goes, I saw her put it away too. And I had to explain it all. But that made for a memorable night. And that's been, shoot.
That was the first.
That was the first time we went. That was
actually got in.
Yeah, that was 16 years ago was the first time we went to McPike Mansion. And from there we became volunteers. And we are now the volunteers that come the furthest to volunteer now.
Oh, wow.
We used to drive from Kansas City to go. And now we're going to be driving from Pensacola, basically, to Illinois. So it is what it is. It'll be fun. So
yeah, what is that, like 11 hours?
Yeah.
12.
About 11.
Yeah, we're gonna go up to Franklin. We're going up to Franklin first, and gonna hang out with one of my coworkers, and then finish up the drive. So Franklin is another place that I just love the town. So
yeah, you could probably find something there to buy. Have you ever been to Franklin?
Guarantee, yeah.
Franklin, Tennessee?
Yeah.
Franklin. Yeah, I think Franklin isn't that where they have like that concert venue that's in the Quarry? Right?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
was
no,
up there a couple of times to go see.
There's a couple battlefield sites, isn't it? Like 2 of them?
Mm-hmm.
From the Civil War?
Yeah. There's a bunch of antebellum houses there.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. It's just a really neat place. So we are at the top of the hour. Where can everybody find you?
Damn.
Everybody can find us at osphprc.com or oldhistoric-harriman-hospital.com. And of course, obviously on Facebook.
And what is the average rental price?
Yeah, what are the rates
for the hospitals?
So we have 2. We have a half night, which is $350 plus tax at Old South Pittsburg, and then we have a full night, which is $600 plus tax, and that's at South Pittsburg, and then Harriman, I believe, is $425 and $850.
And what's the number of people?
8. You can do 8, and then above 8, it's $75 per person. Above 8.
Okay.
So pretty reasonable in the big scheme of things with how big of our locations are. So we're pretty, I think, on point with pricing. And then you get to do 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. And then if you decide to come to Harriman, we do work with the Days Inn Hotel. If you come to South Pittsburg, we work with actually a haunted bed and breakfast, believe it or not, right down the road from the hospital. So you can book, when you do decide to book with us, you can give us a call and we can hook you up with either one of those locations. And they give a discounted rate as well as a late, late checkout. You can get some sleep before you.
Late checkout?
Yeah, late checkout.
I like late checkout.
Late checkout.
I like that.
Yeah,
late check-in is sometimes handy too. But I'd like to thank you so much for coming on. I hope you guys will join us next Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride with my guest Sean from Hill City Paranormal. And we will be traveling. So hopefully it all works out. So check us out there. Please check out all the shows on Bill of Rights Network, on Things Network, Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment, and make sure that you check out Dark Realm TV, where you can watch this in replay on Roku and Amazon Fire. So check those out. And you can watch my show, The Paranormal Pride, in all those places, plus the Paranormal Pride Facebook page, YouTube, and the Denise Pridemore LinkedIn. So check those out. And I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you soon. Have a great night.
Night, everyone.
Good night.